Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. So I was at my psychotherapist's office the other day and I said, Doctor, I feel like I'm being watched all the time." "Oh, Herr Hazard," he said. He talks like that. He says patients find it reassuring. "Herr Hazard, you are being watched, especially online. All sorts of people are monitoring what you do and selling your data to who knows where. I bet you don't even read those warning messages that pop up when you visit websites." "That's awful," I said. "Also not very good for my state of mind. You're a pretty bad therapist." "Not to worry, Herr Hazard," he said. "For if you use Surfshark, their advanced encryption will protect you from unwanted snooping. What's more, with their servers in over 60 countries, you can turn the tables by getting around region-specific blocks and censorship to access content normally hidden from you. You can even take advantage of region-specific pricing to get the best possible deals when online shopping." "That's all very well," I said, "but I can't afford a VPN on top of the cost of these sessions, not unless there was a special offer, link in the description below, whereby I could visit Surfshark and enter the code JAGO to get 83% off a 2-year deal plus 3 months extra free with a 30-day money-back guarantee." "But there is," he said. "Now, Herr Hazard, I'm a little concerned about these elaborate fantasy scenarios you come up with in your sponsor segment. Secure your digital life with Surfshark." Good evening. It's time to take another look at underground stations that have changed their names over the years, just in case you accidentally travel back in time and need to ask directions. Today we're looking at the Central Line. Now, a lot of the stations on the Central Line, specifically the ones on the eastern and western parts of the line, were originally built for the Great Eastern or Great Western Railways respectively. It would be a bit weird if it was the other way around. So those stations have a whole lot of history that predates the Underground. The Underground only took them over in the 1940s. All right, let's get down to it, shall we? So, starting in the west. Map, please. There's West Ruislip. This opened in 1906 as West Ruislip and Ickenham. It didn't become part of the Underground until 1947 when it took the name West Ruislip for Ickenham. This was dropped shortly afterwards. South Ruislip opened in 1908 as Northolt Junction, becoming Northolt Junction and South Ruislip in 1932, and finally South Ruislip in 1947. Northolt has always been Northolt, but it should be noted that there were previously stations nearby named Northolt Holt, then Northolt for West End Holt. By 1914 it was Northolt and was no longer a halt, and in 1948 it was replaced with the current station. Perivale was another halt from 1904 until it got promoted, again in 1947. We'll briefly detour from our current route to look at the Ealing Broadway branch. Ealing Broadway Station is very old indeed, having opened in 1838 as Ealing. In 1875 it took the current name. White City has never had a name change, but I should probably note that it was opened to replace the closed Wood Lane station, which has nothing to do with the current Wood Lane. It's all very confusing. I should do a video about it someday. Add it to the list. In 1900, Queensway opened as Queen's Road. The name changed in 1946. This reflects the name of the street it's on, which also changed from Queen's Road to Queensway. Why, I do not know. Holborn was originally Holborn Kingsway. No one seems to be able to agree when the name changed exactly. I have one source that says 1933, another that says sometime in the 60s, so that's no use at all. Sorry. Chancery Lane opened in 1900 under its current name. Following a station rebuild in 1934, the name Chancery Lane Gray's Inn was adopted to better reflect the position of the new entrance. But this didn't really catch on and appears to have fallen out of use not long afterwards. From 1900 to 1937, St Paul's was named Post Office and was in a different location. Until 1937, the mainline station at Blackfriars had been named St Paul's despite not being particularly well situated for the cathedral. When that station changed its name, the Underground took advantage to snaffle up the more tourism-friendly current name. Bank was briefly known in 1900 as Cornhill before being renamed. Again, I'm afraid I don't have an exact date as to when, but on all but the very earliest maps I've seen, it's named Bank. So I suspect the change happened not long after opening, if not before. Leighton Station was Low Leighton on opening in 1856. In 1867, possibly after a course of therapy, it perked up and became known as Leighton. Snaresbrook has never been able to make up its mind. In 1856, it opened as Snaresbrook. The following year, it was named Snaresbrook for Wanstead. In 1898, Snaresbrook and Wanstead. In 1929, Snaresbrook for Wanstead again. And in 1947, Snaresbrook once again. What a colossal waste of everyone's time. But enough about this video, let's go on to the next station. South Woodford was another 1856 opening under the name George Lane. In 1937 it was South Woodford George Lane, and 10 years later it was reduced to the present name. Now we're going to take another detour, this time around the Hainault Loop, which used to be called the Fairlop Loop, so I guess that's another name change? Maybe? Roding Valley, officially the quietest station on the Underground, opened in 1937 as Roding Valley Halt. Following a rebuild, it was reopened as a proper station in 1947 and no longer a halt. And it appears that it's the only station on the loop to actually change its name. Oh well, back to the main line then. Debden opened in 1865, confusingly named Chigwell Road. Later that year they decided Chigwell Lane sounded nicer. And in 1949 that too was scrapped in favour of Debden. Thaydon Boys was another station that opened in 1865 and got renamed the same year. Originally it was just Thaydon. Maybe it's my middle-class sensibility showing through, but I always think that it should be pronounced Thaydon Bois. I'm amazed no estate agent has tried to do that. And on that note, we reach the end. It's been a semi-epic journey from west to east with many suffixes. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's suffix-laden tale from the tube. If you did, there's a like button somewhere around here, and also a subscribe button if you'd like more. Assuming this video goes down well and doesn't just go down, I'm thinking I'll continue this series. There's no particular order to it. Thanks as ever to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the brackets to my central line roundel. Thanks also to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Visit the link in the description below to take advantage of their ever-generous offer. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.